Hello, beautiful people of the internet. Welcome back to the Games and Culture channel. Because this
Hello.
isn't a podcast episode, I have to do that to myself every time. Uh, just like we said in the last episode of the podcast, the game nominations for the Game Awards came out, so we're going to be covering them today. Some categories went the way that we thought they did. There was some surprises. The biggest surprise being a comprehensive rule change by Jeff Keighley.
The
So,
elephant in the room.
elephant in the room. So we're just going to go ahead and address it right now. Prior to announcing the nominees, so last week, after we'd already recorded the podcast, because I'm sure if this news was out before the podcast, we'd have a lot to say about it.
Yeah. And we would have, because they made a rule change, you would have put Shadow of the Elder Tree into it because that clearly
Yeah.
is what it was for.
But as Nick alluded to there, now expansions, DLCs, and remakes and remasters are now allowed into nominations, which is bullshit.
There's no other way to put it. It's bullshit.
And
There should have
so,
been last year. There was a debate about whether Cyberpunk: Phantom Liberty should have been in Best Ongoing Game, but there was more of an argument to be had for that versus Game of the Year.
yes,
Like,
yes.
there's no excuse. There at this point, there needs to be an actual best DLC/expansion category. Why that has not been done
Well, I think
is
why that hasn't been done is that you can't guarantee there's going to be enough DLCs and expansions to make that list. I think that's why. But
well,
allowing them to be nominated in any category is just stupid. Because it fundamentally changes what these awards are. These awards are supposed to be for things that came out in this year. You don't see the Oscars giving awards to movies that came out 3 years ago, but
you don't
here
see
we are presumably about to give an award to a game that came out 2 years ago. So,
I mean,
this
well,
takes me this takes me back to 2016. So, they said basically that they are making this decision because this has kind of been a light year, which is bullshit. I think there have been a
it's not been that
very
light.
large category of great games that came out this year. I think you have a significant set of blinders on if you think otherwise. Is 2024 the best year in gaming? Fuck
No,
no.
it's not.
1997, 2018, and 2023 all would like to have words with you if you think that way.
Yeah,
But is this the worst year in gaming? Absolutely not. There's tons of great things. So, like I said, this takes me back to 2016. 2016 was also a very light year. It's part of the reason why Overwatch won Game of the Year, which was a controversial decision because it was a multiplayer only game. Other notable games that came out that year were Gears 4,
over Uncharted 4,
Uncharted 4, and so a
Titanfall
lot of
2.
so it was a little bit of a lighter year. So light, in fact, that the highest rated thing of that year was the Witcher DLC, Blood and Wine and Heart of Stone. You don't see they didn't give the award to Witcher because
No,
because
again,
because it
I
didn't come out that year. And so
yeah,
we're seeing a change in rules for From Software, it seems.
yeah, no, this is, again, this is not to chastise. FromSoft games are not my cup of tea personally, but there's no denying their quality and the reach they have an audience.
And there's no denying that Elden Ring should have won Game of the Year in 2022, and there's no
No,
denying how great Shadow of the Erdtree is. It is still the highest rated thing of this year that has came out. But
not a full game. It would have, if it was like something like Spider-Man Miles Morales, where it was a standalone title where you could start Shadow of the Elder Tree like that, I could be a bit more like, okay, fine. But you can't. You have to buy Elden Ring, and you have to play a significant chunk of the game to access Shadow of the Elder Tree.
yep.
It should not be. Again, it's the same thing happened last year with Phantom Liberty. It was a DLC that fundamentally changed the game for the better.
Yeah. I mean,
But it wasn't
that's
eligible.
why we felt that we could include it on our Game of the Year list when we did our Game of the Year list for last year. But we're a channel with less than 10 subscribers, and we aren't making or breaking people's careers.
No, we don't. I said we're just two dudes on a podcast channel. Like we're not, the responsibility on our shoulders is not what's on Jeff Keighley's shoulders.
Exactly. Especially
We
since he
don't-
is positioning the Game Awards to be the Oscars of video games. That has
Yeah,
always been his kind of, I guess, inspiration, is he looks towards that versus something a little less pressure.
yeah. On top of that, we don't do a nominees type of stuff. We just rank the games. And on
Mhm.
top of that, we also agreed before we did our top 10 last year that even though we both love Phantom Liberty, we're going to put it high. It is not eligible to be number one. It cannot be number
Yes.
one.
Yeah, even us have our own rule sets. Our rule set typically is it has to be released in the year, and it exactly, it has to be released in the year, and that's the kind of the criteria that everybody else has held. And we have also said that no remakes or remasters can hold that top spot in addition to DLC. We both are very large Cyberpunk fans, and both really really like the stuff that Phantom Liberty did. Shout out to Phantom Liberty because that is so good.
Mhm.
But we said it this wasn't allowed to win the top spot, and it didn't on either of our lists. Should Shadow of the Erdtree be in the ongoing game category since you put Phantom Liberty there? I would say yes. I think on DLCs are ways to keep games ongoing.
As
Should
I
it
said,
be nominated for five awards?
no.
Absolutely not.
No, as I was gonna say, I mean, I can understand best ongoing. I'm still of the opinion. I think a best DLC, best expansion category is due. Um, but again, game of the year, no, it should not be. And I hope to God it doesn't win. There's already questions on your head, Jeff Keighley, because of this. And if you have it win, there's gonna be even more.
I mean, I think that there's no overcoming the thought process here. They changed the rules for From Software. They
Yeah,
changed the rules for Elden Ring in particular. Jeff Keighley is very, very tied to the success of Elden Ring. I mean, the first trailer was Jeff Keighley's to unveil. He got to do pretty much every update for the game leading up to. And I'm pretty sure the Shadow of the Erdtree's announcement was not made at a Jeff Keighley thing, I don't think. But again, that was DLC, so it didn't necessarily need to be. But still, it just seems like Jeff Keighley is moving the needle where he seems to think it deserves to be moved. Because
yeah.
because why didn't the Resident Evil 4 remake get any nominations?
No, it did. It did.
Well, I mean, not Game of the Year.
No, it did.
It
It was
did.
nominated for Game of the Year. Mhm.
So then
Now,
why are
as
they
I mean,
making? Why are they changing the rules now then?
it's a question of DLC. The question specifically of DLC. Remasters weren't allowed, but remakes, if they kind of are reimaginings, like RE4, Final Fantasy Rebirth,
I
some
guess
Rebirth
so.
are,
Yeah.
those do. I'm okay with remakes if they're reimaginings, like they are, being eligible. Remasters, like in a sense, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, like we came out this earlier, that's just a 1-to-1. That should not be eligible, and
Yeah.
it's not. RE4 is a different story. But the point is to me, it's a to be nominated for Game of the Year means it's a game that came out this year
Yes.
on its own.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that's in the name.
It's in the fucking name. It's in the fucking name. So yeah, this is just such a sham, and it's such a shame because Jeff Keighley's game awards really are the most culturally mainstream event. Like nobody's watching the BAFTA awards even though they are fantastic.
Or the
Nobody's
Dice
watching the
Awards.
DICE awards even though they are fantastic. Everybody tunes in to the game awards, and I think that pressure should push Jeff Keighley into the, oh, I don't want to make any mistakes. This has to be flawless category rather than ha ha ha, it's my world, you fuckers are just living in it kind of world.
No, no, but unfortunately, he keeps doing shit like this.
Yeah.
Like he
I
clearly is
mean,
running.
fucking last year's fucking Game Awards were atrocious. It was all
Please wrap
game,
it
no
up.
awards.
Please wrap
And
it up.
I'm concerned that this year's going to be even worse with
We're already off on a bad foot, Jeff. We're already off on a bad foot.
yes. So, needless to say, we are not happy with this rule change. I don't think that this should be allowed in. If you want to, like I said, DLCs belong in the best ongoing category. If you're not going to make a DLC only section, um, because I feel as though this has taken away from some of the great games. Like if your reasoning for allowing DLCs into the equation is that this has been a light year, why don't we showcase some of the other games that weren't nominated instead?
I mean,
Like,
again, the fact that we opened this with a 10-15 minute rant about what he did is in the spotlight from all the other great games that came out this year.
yes, yes, fucking Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth should have been nominated more. Metaphor should have been nominated more. Astrobot should have been nominated more. There's tons of great indies that were left off. I mean, when we were talking about indies on the podcast, we talked about it for a fair while, and honestly, I was like, we could have given fucking say if we take off Shadow of the Earth Tree, we could have given a couple more indies some spots.
Mhm.
So yeah, needless to say, the announcements today were bittersweet because there are some games that got recognized that should be recognized, and then there's Shadow of the Earth Tree, which should not be recognized, at least in the talk of best game direction, game of the year, and those kind of categories. Game, games that released this year should be in those kind of categories. Um, so let's get into the categories. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go through. We're gonna save game of the year for last. We're gonna go through everything else and just give brief thoughts and open up discussions that way. Uh, Nick is voting. This is gonna be Nick's votes, so you'll see Nick's votes. I'll tell you what mine are. I'm voting off on another screen. It's just easier to do this in terms of how we record these episodes. So best esports team. Um,
I mean,
recognizing specific esports teams. There's 3 League of Legends teams, which makes me happy this year. My vote's gonna be for T1.
there's no. I have to concede that. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't follow any of these games. But obviously you told me the story of what T1 did. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I have to concede that. Like,
yeah,
no.
yeah. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna watch. I'm not gonna go into anything super in depth here.
He did.
Uh,
He did in the
I did it
pocket.
last podcast, so we
Yeah.
won't
So
have to do anything.
watch if you want the full recap of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just know that that's the vote. Um, Next category,
Athlete.
best esports athlete. My vote's going to Faker.
Again, it has to be Faker. MVP. Again,
Yeah,
we're running back the same stories, but
Finals
so
MVP, 5-time fucking world champion. How can you not?
yeah.
Best esports game is the next category as Nick pulls it up. Counter Strike 2, Dota, League of Legends, Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and Valorant. My vote personally is going to League of Legends. I don't think I have to say a reason why.
I
I
mean,
think Valorant's a strong contender to win. So same with Counter Strike and Dota. Both those are long-standing esports titles, but
I mean, I personally wish a fighting game was up here. That's what appeals to me. But
yeah,
um, because I mean, Dota and League are kind of similar-ish in terms of both MOBAs.
yeah,
Um,
and Valve has two representatives with Counter Strike and Dota, and
I,
Mobile Legends Bang Bang is a mobile game, so it is kind of weird not to see a fighter because fighting game esports is huge. Evo is huge, so uh, kind of
it
surprising
is
that like Street Fighter 6 or Tekken is not up here.
it is what it is. But I mean, since these are the nominees, I'll just go with League. Kind of.
We appreciate your vote. Uh,
uh,
Next category is content creator of the year. I don't know who any of these people are. I'll be
I know who
real honest with you.
I know who one of them are.
Which one do you know who it is?
Peso.
Okay.
Man's hysterical.
Okay.
This man, like, I mean, he does random stuff. He plays games, stuff like that. If you guys don't know him, you can check out his stuff. He's hilarious. Um, he's kind of a big dude, but he makes jokes about him being kind of a big dude. Um, when he's streaming on his PS5, he leaves the messages on, and you can see the messages pop up on his screen, and people just keep sending him fat jokes while he's playing. And he has this over the top response how he's threatening to ban everyone in the chat for it. Also, he does like these watches like these food rankings on TikTok, and he's like dials the fuck in for them. I guess it's like life or death. Like I'm making it.
I
He's
mean,
pretty
food's
funny.
important.
I mean, you also got to all these like okay, you have a VTuber, and then we have these normal like photo shots, and then there's him in front of a Waffle House.
I mean, that does speak to his character, I feel.
Yeah, I
Well,
got it. Since when I saw the things earlier, and I saw he was on, I'm like, no, I'm voting Queso. It's Queso, man.
I'll vote for Queso as well then, since you voted for League. Let's shoot him a vote. Shout out to friend of the show, Queso, I suppose. Moving on here to most anticipated game.
Okay, so let's be realistic
Death
about this.
Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, Grand Theft Auto 6, Monster Hunter Wilds, and Metroid 4 Beyond.
Okay, let's be realistic about this real quick. Okay, your most anticipated game is Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yes, that's accurate.
My most anticipated game is Metroid Prime 4. So
Yes,
that's where our votes will be going.
Yes.
We both are acknowledging Grand Theft Auto 6 is winning.
Yes. Yeah, that's
Not even
an inevitability. I wouldn't be surprised if Death Stranding 2 wins, just because of how much of Kojima's dick Jeff Keighley is regularly sucking. But Grand Theft Auto 6 will win. But my vote is indeed for Monster Hunter Wilds. Metroid Prime Pro 4, indeed yours. If you know us, then
this is not surprising.
This is not surprising at all. Like,
but I mean,
Christ.
it is Grand Theft Auto 6. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 6 will make over $1 billion day one. Like it will be like this. Metroid Prime 4 is a big event for me, but Metroid games don't sell that well. Monster Hunter is a big event for the industry, but like it's a big gaming event. Grand Theft Auto 6's release will not just be a big gaming event; it will be a massive cultural event.
Yes. Harking back to like, circa 2007 Call of Duty releases, like that level culture event. I 100% agree. Do I want it to win? No, because Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be extravagantly good. But yeah, no, Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to win. It's going to be funny when it doesn't even release next year.
Yeah, if that doesn't happen, I mean, you come back here and well, it's just angry the hell at clouds.
All right, moving on. I think this category is one we might spend some time talking about. Best adaptation. I think this category has really ballooned in recent years, being kind of a throwaway category to being a competitive one. Arcane Season 2, Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon, Yakuza, Tomb Raider. I haven't watched any Tomb Raider. I have not seen Like a Dragon, Yakuza yet. I need to sit down and watch it. I haven't seen Knuckles yet either. I also haven't seen Fallout either. You know what I have seen? I'm completely up to date with Arcane. Arcane Season 2 is the greatest adaptation ever. It is the greatest animated project ever. And that's me saying that over the Into the Spider-Verse trilogy. 100% Arcane is my vote. If you have not seen Arcane, go watch it. 2/3 of season 2 are out now. The last third comes out this Saturday as of recording. Season 1 was already stellar. Season 2, Oscar worthy. It's just amazing. I know you've seen season 1. Have you got caught up with season 2?
I was gonna
Lord.
I was gonna wait till the whole thing was out. Just
Fair enough. But no, it's.
I wish I've seen one of these. I've heard Like a Dragon isn't good, unfortunately. That's the sad part. Knuckles, I've heard it's okay. I mean, we're really just waiting for Sonic 3 at this point, but I've heard it's okay. I want to see Tomb Raider, but I just got around to it. I've seen a couple episodes of Fallout. Fallout's really good. But I've heard nothing but like absolute praise for Arcane Season 2.
It's so good. It's so good. I watched the second act with some friends on Saturday, and we were just glued to our seats. It's 9 episodes total, right? And so we were watching episodes 4 through 6, and they're just going balls to the walls. These animators and artists on this team of people is crazy, pushing envelopes, pushing the story of a game that really didn't have any story up until like 2015 into a place of being this very deep character study. I have friends with mental illness that say that mental illness is represented on the show in a very uh, accurate way. And so it's just hitting all of these beats. And again, this is the second chunk of it. So these next 3 episodes are probably going to blow my brain outside of my fucking head with the level of quality and shit that happens. And I cannot wait for it. So
Yeah,
Arcane
that's
absolutely is my vote.
yeah, and that's I'll agree with that in the end.
I
I
think if I had seen all the other shows, Arcane would have still won.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm taking the bet on the vote for, just because I have a feeling it's going to win for me in either way. It's funny that someone pointed out is the lead for Fallout. I forget her name. I think it's Ella Purnell or something like that. Whatever her name is. She also voices Jinx,
Yes, yes.
so she was gonna win either way.
Yeah, I think the
'Cause
two. I think the
it's gonna
two.
be
It's gonna be Fallout or Arcane.
yeah,
But I think recency bias is gonna win the day here because of how good the recency bias is.
yeah,
Um, I mean, if you are a fan of Elle Purnell, I think it's Ellie Purnell or whatever her name is. She's doing a ton of press for Arcane right now. They are really pushing her out there and doing press for it. So I think recency bias will win, but it's the highest quality recency bias that I could ever muster. So
yeah. No, I agree. I'm curious what next year is gonna be like, because we'll have some interesting ones next year. We'll have Sonic 3 and Minecraft, maybe. Ugh.
Sonic 3.
Yeah.
Let's end the conversation there.
All right.
Best multiplayer: Call of Duty, Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, Warhammer 40K, Space Marine 2. I'll be super honest with you. I've not played any of these games.
Really? I thought you played Helldivers.
I bought it and then by the time I bought it, all of the people that were playing it had already moved on, so I haven't played it.
Well, I played Warhammer a little bit, but the campaign. I played Tekken, obviously. I haven't played Mario Party yet. I want to.
Yeah,
College COD. I
College
actually
Cup.
I've heard not good things about COD multiplayer. First, some people like the campaign. A lot of people like the zombies. Multiplayer here is really bad.
I heard that they switched to like skill-based matchmaking. So if you win a game against like other casuals, they put you into pro lobbies because you won a game, which is
They have
hilarious.
they've been doing that, and they have that here in Black Ops 6. On top of that, they also have skill-based gun damage.
That's crazy. Okay, well, that's crazy. I'm just gonna vote for Helldivers 2 because of
Yeah.
I know the quality of that game even without playing it. And I feel as though Helldivers needs to win to make Concord Sacrifice worth it. So
Yeah. I mean, it's between Tekken and Helldivers for me. But Tekken had some issues with its multiplayer,
Mhm.
so it's gonna be Helldivers.
Okay. So next category is best sports and racing. I really don't care about this this
No.
category, so I don't even want to vote
I mean,
personally. But
I'll vote to keep the kind of be a completionist, all that stuff. But I don't know, FIFA, I guess.
I'm gonna vote for F1
Okay,
because
we really don't.
that
We
one's
really
not
don't
made.
make it.
That one's not made by EA, is it? Oh no, it is EA. Fuck.
I mean,
I can't win. It's 2K or EA, the two worst ones, no matter what.
back in our retail days, working at the game store, we didn't care about the sports games.
Yeah, still
And
don't.
our clientele did, and
Yeah.
we were just they always just like, "What you guys decided?" No,
No, no. Talk to me later when an RPG comes out. Best Sim Strategy: Age of Mythology Retold, Frostpunk 2, Kunitsugami, Path of Goddess, Manor Lords, Unicorn Overlord. Only one I've played is Unicorn Overlord, and it's very, very good, as most Vanillaware projects are. So that is my vote.
yeah, that's one.
I
That's
thought
the one.
I thought Kunitsugami was a like action game, and then it came out, and I started reading reviews, and it's like a tower defense strategy game. I was like, oh no, I don't know if I like that.
I've heard I've heard some good things about a couple of these. I think I've heard things about that one. I think I've heard good things about Frostpunk, but I've definitely heard a lot about Unicorn Overlord this year. So I think it'll take it.
Yeah, still, my only complaint about that game is it didn't release on PC.
Yeah, that's a fair complaint. But I mean, it's Atlas and Vanillaware. You know, I'll throw them a freebie vote. Why not?
Fair enough. I mean, you can't go wrong there. Best family game. Previously a category ruled by Nintendo, but there's some competitors this year. Astrobot, Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Legend of Zelda Echoes Wisdom, Plucky Squire.
So yeah, this is usually the Nintendo freebie category. I'm sorry, but Estonia's stealing it this year.
Yeah, I haven't finished Astrobot yet, but I've played enough to know that it's the highest quality game up here. I've played and beaten Princess Peach Showtime and Plucky Squire, and there's really not anything that's going to take away from Astrobot winning this category. It would have to have been a new 3D Mario to fight with it, and since one of those did not come out, it's got to go to Astrobot. So I'm in agreement with you there.
The trophy is already engraved for Nintendo, and Sony's just scratching it out like,
Yeah,
no,
so
this
it's
is mine.
just like I can release an Astrobot game every year. That game was cheap and easy to make. Fuck yeah, let's go. Unlocks the code.
Nintendo's just cursing out of them right now. They're pissed. That's my award.
I really actually don't think that they're gonna win it. So that's nice to see, in my opinion. Best fighting game. Category near and dear to your heart. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, Multiverses, and Tekken 8. I'm assuming you're voting for Tekken 8.
So before I get to my vote, there's some things I want to address here.
Sure.
Why the fuck is this here? Like, Marvel 2 is one of the greatest fighting games ever made. I ain't saying it. This is the same exact thing as the Shadow of the Tree. This should not be here. This is just a re-release of old games. Literally, this is a re-release of old games. Like, dude, where's Under Night 2? That came out this year. That's from the people who make Multi Blood and all, like, Under Night deserve to be here.
So I think this is speaking to, I think, one of the bigger problems with the Game Awards is that they are very very noticeable tunnel vision. Under Night is not very popular, let's be honest.
No, it's not. It's a very niche
Marvel vs. Capcom, recognizable name that will get people voting. I think that's what this is. Because I agree. Why is a collection of classic fighting games in the same category as fighting games that released this year? I don't even feel good about putting Multiverses on there.
No, the same. Multiverses came out a couple years ago, and they blew the one. It didn't come back, and it was better in its beta, and it won Game of the Year that year. Yeah, well, fighting game of the year.
Yeah, this is the second time that it's been nominated for the same category across 2 different years. So,
like, Grand Blue deserves to be there. There's no question about that. Grand Blue deserves to be here.
Yeah, and I would say Sparking Zero does as well. I would say Tekken 8 does as well.
Marvel, no.
It's not a remake. It's just a remaster.
Not even a remaster. It really. It's
really not even a remaster. You're exactly right. It's really not even a remaster. They just added network connectivity and put it on modern consoles. And I really can't get over the fact that Multiverses has been nominated twice for the same fucking category. Mm-hmm. Why is this not in best ongoing game then?
Yeah, these two should not be here. Again, Under Night deserved. I could swallow Multiverse a little bit, maybe because you're trying to fill the category out. And it did do a re-release in a sense because it was gone for a while. But Under Night should be here over Marvel vs. Capcom, like straight up. Like they were robbed. I feel bad for French Bread because of the name of the studio who makes those. Because they also made Melty Blood. Like they deserved to be here, and they're not. I am concerned it might win because of the Marvel name.
Yeah,
but the winner should be either Sparking Zero or Tekken 8.
I think the winner will be Sparking Zero.
I think you're right because of popularity. The only thing I will say is Sparking Zero is a bit more of a party game. Sorry if you really like that game, guys. It's not a balance fire. It ain't going to Evo anytime soon.
Yes,
and I'm definitely more of a give me an actual like competitively designed game, which is what Tekken is.
But that's
So
your sentiments. What's bigger, the fighting game community that respects how good Tekken 8 is, or the Dragon Ball Z community that sees Dragon Ball Z in the title?
I mean, you're right. I will not be surprised. I'll be a little disappointed because I just think Tekken is more does more. I want to say
It
I don't
is the
know.
best fighting game that came out this year.
Yeah, like it's more. It defines the genre more
Yeah.
than Dragon Ball. But I wouldn't be surprised if Dragon Ball wins. But I'm voting for Tekken, and I hope it wins.
All right. Moving on to my hardest category to call.
This is a
Best
hard category.
RPG.
Now, I will say this. I think this is the category that determines the winner. Straight up. I think unless
Possibly.
Astrobot comes out of nowhere to take it, because you
I
have
mean,
these three.
I think the winner's personally written in stone, but that's just me.
We'll
Like, but
see.
again, this is the first category with the elephant in the room. I think Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree is going to clean up, even though I personally think that Metaphor is the best game up on this list here because
Um,
or Infinite Wealth is the game that currently I feel as though I had the most fun with this year.
I mean, I'm gonna say right now, like Infinite Wealth is the gypped game of this year.
I agree. I agree. Because I think if they didn't put Elden Ring in the category, I think that it would have had a better chance of winning. And I think that it should have been nominated for Game of the Year as well. But it came out in January, February.
Yeah.
I think it was January. It came out in late January. Recency bias is a fucking thing here. And if you release a game in January, and even if it gets nominated, it's not going to win the category. I cannot sing Like a Dragon, Yakuza Like a Dragon, or Like a Dragon Infinite as well praises enough. These are two extremely fun and funny games with great characters, great performances. Because I think that Ichiban's fucking voice actor should have been nominated in the best performance category and was not, which is just a fucking crime. And I think it would have been nominated for Game of the Year if Elden Ring wasn't there.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because you know, we're both playing Veilguard right now. Veilguard did release with a lot of controversy. Typically, if you release with some controversy, your name's left out of the hat. So I don't necessarily think that Veilguard was going to get nominated, and that opened the door for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth to come through. Because Dragon Age, I think it was only nominated for one category in accessibility. I think.
I think so.
Um. So
I mean,
I looking
I
at
just,
this category just upsets me so fucking much because of Elden Ring.
and
I
I'm
think
gonna be honest. I don't. I don't. I struggle to call Elden Ring an RPG compared to these four.
I mean, it is an RPG. It is an RPG. One might even argue that, well, it is an RPG. You are role playing
I guess
somebody.
these other four seem more emblematic
Yes.
of the RPG genre than Elden Ring
Yes.
does. I feel like FromSoft style is a style onto its. I mean, it's a Souls-like. That's the name of the genre.
Yeah. I mean, with as many fucking Souls like, there should be a best Souls like category that comes with this fucking shit. But goddamn.
Yeah.
This one is a tough one because I love Final Fantasy, even though I haven't played Rebirth all the way through yet, just because of how dense the game is. I love Final Fantasy. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, like I said, is the game that I've had the most fun with this entire year. And I think it might win my game of the year just because of it. Nothing against Metaphor. I loved Metaphor as well. I have nothing but positive praise for Metaphor. But like, there's something special about
I mean,
middle-aged
no,
dudes doing middle-aged dude stuff.
I totally understand how you feel. I mean, I don't feel that way about like Dragons. I haven't played it yet, but I'm kind of feeling that way with Dragon Age. I'm just having fun
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
So, and that's I'm having fun with Metaphor too, but there's just something a bit more joyful about Dragon Age to me right now, and I kind of need that right now.
Sure.
So it's a little Metaphor's up against a tougher battle for that for me, but that's personal now. But I mean, there's no denying Metaphor's quality at all.
I am going to give the vote to Metaphor because I think
I
it
agree.
is the best RPG that is up there in terms of RPG stuff that I consider great when it comes to an RPG. Not saying that like a Dragon Infinite Wealth lacks those things. I just think that Metaphor does it a bit better.
No, I think, I mean, we glaze Atlas all the
Ironically,
time.
both games have job systems.
Yeah. I mean,
And both games did not have a dragoon class, which fucking pissed me off. But go well, actually, I should rephrase that. Metaphor did, just not in my version of a dragoon, but go on.
I want to say we both glaze Atlas on this show all the time. But the Game Awards they don't really get their flowers a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I hope they do this year. They deserve it. They put out arguably one of their best games they ever made. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think this game's gonna beat Persona 5 for me because I mean,
Yeah.
me I,
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Which I mean, without getting too much in, because that'll be for our review. But yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't beat Persona 5 Royal as my favorite
I mean for
Atlas
me
game.
for me if it beats Persona 5 means it's my favorite game of all time now. Which that's a tall task.
Yeah.
But again, there's no denying that that this is a bit out of style of their wheelhouse for Atlas and how their style and how they did things. But they hit out of the park. I mean, a lot of times I pitch this game to a lot of people who don't know much about it, because I know some people at my job who are not really into Final Fantasy anymore because they miss it being turn based. I said metaphor basically is what if Final Fantasy just remained turn based?
I really think that's why they put Fantasio in the titles. Like, we can't say fantasy, so let's say something else. But
But
no,
I
yeah,
mean,
metaphor is so good.
it is fantastic. I hope they win many awards at this thing.
Uh, yes, me too.
Best
Best
action
action
adventure.
adventure: Astrobot, Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, and Legend of Zelda. Can we talk about how why is Silent Hill on this fucking list?
There's no horror category.
Excellent question. Why is there no fucking horror category? I don't think silent. When I think action adventure, I don't immediately go to Silent Hill.
No.
Um, Part of me really wants to vote for Prince of Persia here because that studio got shut down, even though they released a fucking awesome game. But I am going to vote for Astrobot because I
Yeah.
do think it is the highest quality game up there. I feel as though this year this category wasn't as
No, it's been
competitive as
no,
previous years.
it's been more packed before, but yeah, this year it's Astrobots. I mean, Astrobot is just like it's been so long since Sony put out a 3D platformer, and they just hit out of the park as soon as they did. Like, well,
Yeah, yeah.
that old thing. That's just feels like sometimes.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's so good. And for like a Sony fan like me, it's just that extra layer of good. Best
this is
action game: Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, Warhammer 40K, Space Marine 2. So again, I haven't played any of these games. I
I've
have
played.
Black Myth
I've,
Wukong and I have Helldivers. I did not and have not gotten Stellar Blade. Um,
it's going to PC soon, so next year.
I'm glad I waited because I'm gonna play it on my PC.
Um, but
I think.
I've
Oh,
played
go ahead.
Helldivers. I've played Stellar Blade. I've played a little bit of Warhammer. COD's COD. Uh, and I now here's that. Who I expect to win. I expect Black Myth Wukong
Black.
because
Yeah,
yeah, I expect to win. That's not what I'm voting
yeah.
for. I'm voting for Stellar Blade.
I'm also voting for Stellar Blade because of the near crossover.
I mean, okay, fair.
How can you not? How can you not?
I mean,
Yoko Taro comes out and goes, "I wish I'd done this."
I mean, yeah, the game had some controversy, but and I will say the story in this game is butt cheeks. It's not very good. But the combat surprised me how good it was. Like I genuinely like when I first started, I'm like, this is weird. It's not what I expected. I was expecting more like near type of platinum style combat, and it was more from stuff slow and methodical. But something about it just clicks at a certain point, and it's just I never felt that from soft way of game feel. You know what? I'm gonna keep throwing myself at the boss and just keep trying and learning until I beat this thing. And I usually don't. From soft games don't work on me like that way. Just like Stellar Blade worked. Like I don't know what about it, but just its combat is some of the best combat I've ever seen in a game. Arguably, I'm gonna say its gameplay is better than Nier's. Its story is not even close, but gameplay wise, it's like if I would give gameplay wise, I would probably get like still like a 10 on gameplay, and like near like a 9, and then story wise, near is like a 12, and Stellar Blade is like a 5.
All right. Well, the real question is Nier versus Stellar Blade. Who has the better ass? Is it is it 2B or is it Eve?
I'm not dignifying that with a response.
Fair
you
enough.
can, you can pick that one. You, the audience, can pick your vote now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Next up, we've got Best VR AR, Arizona Sunshine Remake, Asgard's Wrath 2, Batman Arkham Shadow, Metal Hellsinger VR, Metro Awakening. Didn't know Metal Hellsinger VR was a thing.
But
That game is super cool, super fun. Um, Both of us have VR headsets. You have the PlayStation VR 2. I've got the Oculus Quest Pro. And I don't think we use those very much, do we?
I didn't play a single one of these.
I haven't played a
Um,
single one either. I've heard decent things about Arkham Shadow, though.
I've heard really good things about Arkham Shadow. That's what I'll vote for because I've heard this is the one I've heard the best.
I've also heard amazing things about Asgard Wrath 2. And like I said, Metal Hellsinger is a super fun game. It's a rhythm first-person shooter, but the music's metal music, and so that being in VR could be pretty fucking cool, honestly.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
I'm
did.
gonna vote for Batman Arkham Shadow as well.
The only issue is I wish I could play it because it's only on Oculus, but oh well.
Aha, aha! Maybe I play it before the year's over. You know, who knows?
Oh
Who knows?
no.
Probably not, because my VR headset's just a Beat Saber machine. So
Same.
you know. Best mobile game: AFK Journey, Balatro, Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, Wuthering Waves, and Zenless Zone Zero. Hoyoverse putting out another one. Balatro is very good. My vote is personally going to Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket. I'm fucking addicted, dude. They give me 2 packs a day. I get to open them. I get cool cards. I have a good time. I play the game. It's an abridged version, so it kind of is short, kind of like Marvel Snap. It's really, really fucking fun. They've cracked the code. It almost has me buying real Pokemon cards.
Oh
But
no.
I've not done it. I'm not doing it. I've not done it. Like I said, they give me 2 free packs a day. It's very fun to open them. It's very fun. I've gotten some rare cards. It's pretty cool. They give you ways to show off those rare cards. And I'm already voting Balatro for my best indie game, so I feel as though I don't play Balatro on my phone, so it shouldn't count for me. So Pokemon Trading Card Game.
I mean, I don't play anything on my phone. I mean, the winner will be Blacho Pokemon or Zenless Zone Zero. Like Wuthering Waves are not winning.
I think it probably will go to Zenless Zone Zero. Hoyoverse has really cracked the code on getting these high quality mobile games working really, really well on mobile. But they also are really good about transferring them over to other devices like PC and PS5 and stuff like that. So I think a lot of people are probably playing Zenless Zone Zero, not on their phones mostly, but will still probably vote for it because they just play it so often. So,
Yeah.
it's interesting to me though that this category is comprised of mobile games that came out this fucking year.
Funny that, Jeff.
Isn't that
Funny.
interesting? Considering that mobile games typically are ongoing games that you play for a number of years through constant updates and new events and shit. It's interesting to me that all of the mobile games are this year because Genshin Impact is crazy bigger than Zenless Zone Zero. So is Honkai Star Rail, and they're not up here. You can fucking include fucking multiverses 2 separate years, but somehow the biggest mobile games don't make the fucking list. Interesting, Jeff.
We're just gonna keep beating Jeff so many times over this.
Well, because it's very clear that he's bending the rules
Oh,
for the
oh,
games
oh.
that he wants in. Because again, if I'm looking at best mobile game, maybe you include Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, maybe you include Zenless Zone Zero, but neither of those are as big as Pokemon Go or Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, fucking, those are the biggest mobile games. Candy Crush, still probably the biggest mobile game. So it's just interesting to me that we'll bend the rules for the things that Jeff wants in, but not actually bend the rules for the things that should be in, honestly.
Yeah, no, I get you. Um, I mean, I was like Blatcho because it's not every game of the year. Kind of keep it going. I've heard good things about it. I want to try it.
Yep.
Um, but we'll move on to the next
Maybe
category.
you get it on your phone and it's your first mobile game, Who knows? Best
Debut indie
debut
game.
indie.
I mean, none of these games are good. I wish, I really wish Thousand Times Resist was here because that was their debut as well.
That's true.
So
Animal Well, Balatro, Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, and Plucky Squire. So I'll say this. So I've played a little bit of Animal Well, Balatro, and Plucky Squire. Just judging by what you've told me about Thousand Time Resist, it should be on here instead of Plucky Squire. Plucky Squire had a ton of tech issues when it launched, inconsistent frame rates, for being a fucking indie. That's crazy. Um, very very derivative stuff. Once it kind of showed you what the game was, it didn't show you any more than that. So for just on the premise that the story of Thousand Times Resist, from what you've told me, I think Plucky Squire should be out of here. But that's neither here nor there. I don't get to pick the nominees. My vote's Blatro.
I mean, yeah, I'll vote for Electro as well. I have Pacific Drive. I've heard good things about Pacific Drive,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
And
gonna be
I
Electro.
and shout outs to Donkey with his Big Mode publishing label putting out Animal Well and it doing extremely well on their first outing. Um, I've poured countless hours into fucking Balatro. It's so addicting, and on paper it shouldn't be. But here's one of the big ones that we talked about last on the podcast. Best indie game overall: Animal, Balatro, Lorelei, Laser Eyes, Neva, UFO 50. So I have every game on here except for UFO 50. I've played a little bit of Lorelei and Laser Eyes, got stumped, and didn't go back to it. I haven't played Neva yet, although I've heard good things, and I've already spoke my piece about Animal and Balatro. Um,
I haven't heard of Laura and Laser Eyes.
So Lorelei and Laser Eyes is a very old school, like think 90s computer games style mystery puzzle game. And some of the puzzles are so like interactive, I guess you would say, that like people have to take out like pens and paper and like actually write down some of the shit and figure it out.
Hmm,
So
hmm.
it even looks that way too. It looks like an old computer game. I've heard, I mean, lots of people really really love it. It's published by Annapurna. They usually don't miss. Just off of the little bit that I played, atmosphere is super creepy and super enthralling. Like I said, the only reason why I haven't gone back to it yet is because I legitimately got stumped. So
Fair,
uh, and with as much as I have to play, I'm like, I don't have time for this shit. They
fair.
think they're
That's
better than
fair.
me. I have Neva. I've been playing Neva. I've heard only got a runtime of like 6 hours, so I'm planning on fitting it in probably after Dragon Age. But again, Balatro. If I've got like 10 minutes, I'll just boot up Balatro and be devastated when a run fails. Um, it's just so fucking good, and I hope it wins. If Animal Well does win, I
Right.
wouldn't be upset by it because, like I said, I think Donkey's doing a really awesome fucking thing by starting his big mode label. And obviously, if Animal Well is any indication of the games that they're going to be releasing to us, all credit to him. So
Yeah. One thing to note though, Hades 2 isn't here at all.
Hades 2 is not here at all. So I guess early access doesn't count, but DLC does.
Makes sense,
I
Jeff.
guess. Fabulous. So awesome. So Hades 2 will win best indie next year after everybody pretty much has already fucking played it this year. Oh, Jeff, you make me angry, Jeff. You make me
Best
so angry.
community support.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, No Man's Sky. So I am not going to be voting for Helldivers 2, No Man's Sky, or Fortnite. Fortnite is part of my recent ire in video games of we're just going to go back to our original status to get you playing the games. So even though Fortnite did it first and it's less of a cash grab for them, they started a thing that I hate. So I think Baldur's Gate, Final Fantasy, I played both of them. Um, if I really dive into Final Fantasy 14 though, none of you will ever hear from me again. So I keep it at distance. Like it knows that I love it, but like we have this kind of thing where like we have an understanding that I can't play too much of it. Baldur's
Let's
Gate
be real.
3, I think I'm going to vote for Baldur's Gate 3 just on the
It's Larian.
yeah, it's Larian, and they actually listen to the community. Like, like
Like,
there was an update earlier this year for Baldur's Gate 3 where people were like, "Well, boobs jiggle, so why don't penises?" And so they're like, "Okay, penises can jiggle too," and like that didn't need to be put in. That didn't need to be put in. They did it for the memes and the lulls, but it
I
shows that
mean,
they're fucking listening.
let's be real. Jeff is a glazer. He ain't gonna pass up opportunity to glaze someone. You think he's gonna pass up an opportunity to glaze Larian? No, it's gonna be Larian. Now, granted,
True.
Larian deserves to be glazed. I get it, but let's be real. It's gonna be Larian.
Yes.
Larian
Yes.
runs.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Larian runs circles around all these guys in terms of community support and how they
Yes.
interact with their community.
Absolutely. Cannot wait for whatever they've got cooking down the line. So, all love to Larian.
Best
Best
ongoing
ongoing.
game. This is where Elden Ring should be.
Yep. Because let's look at it. Destiny 2 is here because they had a new DLC come out this year. Diablo 4 is here because it has a new DLC that came out this year. Final Fantasy 14 is here because it had a new expansion that came out this year. Helldivers 2 is here because it came out this year. Fortnite is here because it's Fortnite and it will always be here until the end of fucking time.
It is inevitable.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Oh god. So
'Cause last year, Cyberpunk. Last year, a single player game that had an expansion came out. Won this category.
Cyberpunk.
Hmm.
So maybe there's a correct way of doing things.
Because
So again,
if Elden Ring was actually in this category, we would both agree it would win.
yeah, and we wouldn't have had the long fucking 15-minute fucking rant fest at the beginning of the episode.
Or just keep bringing it up to insult Jeff.
Yeah, it's only gonna get brought up more because we still have fucking 10 more categories. So my vote here is gonna go to Destiny 2.
Okay.
Because the ending of their kind of saga of updates was this year with the final shape, and it was very good. Shout out to Fortnite for giving me Venom and Spider-Man skins and a Black Cat skin that I absolutely love. But I think that's fair that Destiny 2, after all of my time put in it, deserves my vote here because Final Shape was legitimately good. I've heard good things about the Spiritborn class in Diablo 4. I do have it, so I possibly will revisit it at some point. Final Fantasy, before I talked about it. Fortnite, I already talked about why I will not be voting for it. But yeah, so my vote's gonna go Destiny 2. Final Shape was great.
Gotcha. Of these
You're voting
five,
for Fortnite.
yeah, because I've played Helldivers, but Fortnite's one I play all the time. I mean, granted, I don't have much issue with Fortnite how it runs this thing. Honestly, I think they communicate well. The only issue is like, god damn, what the shop is sometimes just awful.
Yeah.
I wish they had fixed that. Let me give you more money, Fortnite. Stop putting crap in the shop.
Yeah.
But
For
I
sure.
mean, I play Fortnite almost nightly. Like me personally, I can't give it anything else at this point. That's in this category. It's Fortnite for me.
All right, next game category. Games for Impact. This is a very important category. Usually leads to a lot of great discussion. Closer to the Distance, Indica, Neva, Life Strange Double Exposure, Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade 2, and Tales of Kenzera Zao. I've not played any of these games, but I do think that it's notable that Veilguard was left out of this category.
Yeah, weird.
I think with its
well,
pro identity stance, I feel as though that. I mean, granted that wasn't the message that the game is sending
no, I was saying,
overall,
yeah,
but
say this one, and that's probably why it wasn't here is because it was just a moment in the game versus these other games. That's the point.
yeah, that's fair,
Um,
and that's a fair distinction, I think.
I haven't played any of these. Well, no, I've played all but one of these. Well, no, I'm rephrasing that. I've only played one of these. There we go. I'm
Yeah.
rephrasing that.
Um,
I haven't even played all of it. I'm only on the first part of it. But because it's the only I've played, I'll vote for Life is Strange
I'm
because
gonna
I know
vote
that.
for Neva here because it's the only game I own on this list.
Gotcha. But Life is Strange did a lot of good stuff before. And it's return of a fan favorite character, the original protagonist Max. And I've liked what I've seen so far. I thought they did a good job. I didn't expect them to bring back the same voice actors for Max from the original game. Um, but it is the same voice actors, and they've done a good job, kind of like making her sound a bit older. Um, but yeah, so far it just kind of feels like very quickly Max reestablished herself. Like, she's the best Life is Strange protagonist.
Okay. Well,
So
good.
I've liked what I've played so far. I want to I want to play more of it, but Dragon Age and Metaphor are saying no. That waits now.
Yep. As intended. All right. Innovation and accessibility, usually a Naughty Dog category, but there's no Naughty Dog games this year. So, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Diablo 4, Dragon Age: The Veilguard, Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, Star Wars Outlaws. I'll be voting for Dragon Age. I don't know if being able to properly identify yourself is considered accessibility. It seems like it would be in my mind. So for that alone, I feel as though that's why this wins. I'm sure that there's a uh, just kind of going through the settings to adjust kind of my display
Yeah,
settings. I'm sure there's a bunch of different settings that will help. Uh,
there is. The only thing is at this point, I don't really know of these five who made like significant stride. Because I'm thinking accessibility in terms of like it's hard for you to like maybe you're colorblind. Maybe you're missing finger. It's hard for you to mechanically play a game. Um, I don't know if any of these five really made strides in this category this year. Like last
that's
year,
fair.
Street Fighter Six made massive strides in this,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
to me it unfairly lost. Um, but I don't particularly know who made strides in this. So because of that, I'm gonna go for Dragon Age as well because it's the only category it was nominated in, and I really like this game a lot. So I want to be able to give it something. So I'm gonna vote for Dragon Age just for that.
All right. Let's get into best performance. So Brianna White from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hannah Tell from Life is Strange Double Exposure, Kimberly Gonzalez from Star Wars Outlaws, Luke Roberts from Silent Hill 2, Melina Jurgens for Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Again, I cannot stress this enough that I hate that there is not any representation of fucking uh infinite wealth on here. It pisses
For
me the
metaphor,
fuck off. Kaji Tang, who is the voice of Ichiban Kasuga, should be here, or Yang Ye, who voices Kiryu, should be on here. From Metaphor, I would say Hulkenberg's voice actress, who I'm pulling up the name of now. Um, I feel as though Hulkenberg's voice actress probably stole the show for me in terms of performances there. Um, or Stroll. Stroll's also really, really good too. I'm pulling up the names now.
so far
Uh, yeah,
everyone has
Stuart
been really
Clark
good so far.
is Stroll. I feel like he would be a good pick. And then Kristen, I'm gonna probably ruin this name. Atherton is the voice of Miss Asselin Berchelli Majal Hulkenberg, and I think for me that was the performance that stole the show there. Uh, really surprised that there's not representation of either of those two games on here. Uh, you know, I haven't played enough of any of these games on here. I mean, I guess I'm gonna vote for Brianna White.
My who I think's gonna win, I think it's gonna be Melina Jurgens again. She won it for the original Hellblade, so I think it's
Yes.
gonna be her again. Um, I I get Five Silent Hill 2's guys here because I mean it's playing. I'm assuming it's the main character he's playing. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm assuming she's playing the main character in Star Wars Outlaws. I mean, she probably did a
yeah,
good
yeah,
job, but
yeah, yeah.
that game was Monroe. She's probably the one that probably shouldn't be here. Replaced with someone else. I'm not saying she did a bad job. I'm just saying like the game wasn't like, eh.
Yeah. I think
Um,
like judging seeing the clips of the game though, I think she did a really standout job personally.
yeah.
Um
This is Max
yep.
from. and then Aerith.
Yep, Aerith.
Um, I haven't played that much of Final Fantasy Rebirth. I mean, honestly, if I played Rebirth all the way through, I would probably wind up going with Aerith.
I mean,
Um,
I'm voting her. I'm voting for her off of Remake's performance alone. The ladder
that's fair.
scene where she yells out "shit" when the ladder falls
I'm
is what sold me on this version of Aerith. So I was like, I
I'm
guess that deserves my vote.
I'm gonna vote for Hannah Tell just because one, I don't know if she ever got any recognition for playing Max in the original. So this is kind of a redemption for
Yeah,
reflecting that. And again, as I said, Max quickly to me, at least to me, reestablishes why she was the best Life is Strange protagonist very quickly. And she does a real good job of, I didn't know she was coming back, but when she started talking, I'm like, that sounds like the same voice, but I'm not like slightly different. And it was. I looked at me and she said like, yes, got her voice, just a little bit of change her voice to the younger Max. So she tweaked that voice to make her sound older, 10 years older and more of a mature adult now.
yeah,
Oh, really impressed by that. So I want to at least give her recognition for a character that she's been voicing for over a decade now.
for sure, for sure. All right, next a category. It's interesting to me that we have this category, but we don't have a horror category. Best audio design. Astrobot,
Or
Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2. I mean,
so the only one I
nothing
played
about
through
the
is
audio design of Final Fantasy VII stands out to me personally. Like aside from like the music. So personally, I'm gonna give it to Astrobot. But
the only that's the one I've played through. I'm gonna imagine one of these two are gonna win. It's gonna be your Silent Hill or Senua's Saga because these two games do rely on sound.
yeah, I would say probably
Um,
Silent Hill 2 is gonna win.
yeah,
But I could also see World War Call of Duty wins because a lot of people stand by that franchise.
yeah. I'm gonna vote for Ashbot just because it's the only one I've played through, but I don't think it's gonna win this.
Yeah,
And ultimately, it probably doesn't deserve it, but I don't have a frame of reference to compare it to.
sure. Moving on. Best score
Oh
music. Yep.
no!
Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor, Refantasio, Silent Hill 2, Stellar Blade. So I love Nobuo Uematsu.
That
Uh,
who's that?
he is the composer for Final Fantasy.
Okay.
Uh,
This is a
and
tough
while I
category.
do think that Metaphor soundtrack is a significant step down from Persona 3 and Persona 5, which I'm surprised to not see Persona 3 Reload up here since remakes are fucking allowed. Um, my vote, I think, will be going to. Man, it's hard. Metaphor and Final Fantasy are my picks. I think
This
I'm
is
gonna
hard
give
for
it
me.
to Final Fantasy for Nobuo Uematsu alone. Because again, Metaphor soundtrack is good. It is good, but there's no standout songs like Last Surprise or Takeover or Beneath the Mask or um, um, I've playing through Reload this year. I've really gotten attached to the Persona 3 soundtrack, with Lotus Juice doing a lot of lifting there. So yeah, Metaphors. In hindsight, Metaphor soundtrack is not as good as that. While it is good, it's just not as good. So yeah, my vote's gonna go to Final Fantasy 7.
Fair. Um, so the only one of these five I haven't heard is Silent Hill 2. But I don't think he's ever realized the chance of winning against these other four. I do like Metaphor's soundtrack a lot. I mean, I'll agree it's probably not as good as Persona, but I'm not gonna grade it on that curve, because it's not trying to go for that same tone. I really like the battle music for it. I think it's called Warriors and Valor.
Mhm.
With the Japanese chant, like that is like I didn't expect
That
a Japanese
guy,
chant.
that guy goes so hard.
I know I was not expecting to start like, oh, it's catchy beat. Also, he just starts going. I'm like, what the? Oh my god!
He had fucking bills to pay. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I meant for the work. I mean, Final Fantasy's Final Fantasy. Like, when does Final Fantasy music not ever hit?
I mean, it's true. It's true. It's true.
Uh, Astrobot's fun. I like Astrobot's. It's got a catchy little thing when you're at the main
Yeah.
menu. It's super catchy. Um, Stellar Blade. You would think that maybe the soundtrack wouldn't be that notable, but no, it is.
Yeah.
Uh, it has such a range. You have like these music. You kind of remind you of Nier Automata because the game is trying to copycat a little bit. But those aren't bad. And then they have these just massive rock and pop songs where things just going over the top crazy. And that's where the game's at its best.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, there's a lot of songs from this game that I in my playlist already. Actually, it probably has more than Metaphor. I think I'm going with Stellar Blade on it.
Go for it, yeah. Like I said, I think I'd rather see Persona 3 Reload up there. If Persona 3 Reload was up there, I would be choosing that over Final Fantasy. So, again, this is the thing. It's cherry picking the nominees, not necessarily based on what is important or what is actually true. Because I do think that Persona 3 should be in this conversation as well. Even though it is
Yeah,
a remake, they redid a lot of the music from it. So, that's why there's two different soundtracks. So, but yeah, that's again, not no shade against Metaphor. I fucking love that game. But I think the music department it is weak compared to some of Atlas's other offerings. Best art direction: Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, Metaphor Van Fantasio, Neva. Metaphor is my vote.
one of
Uh,
these things just doesn't belong here,
yeah.
but we know which one. Um, yeah, all of them. Black Myth Wukong has an interesting art direction. I'll give it that, but it is still going for that kind of realistic game thing. And I don't think it's anything special personally. Um, Astrobot's cute and creative. How everything has a costume and stuff like that. To me, it's down between these two. Both these have magnificent art
Yes.
styles.
Yes.
But I really like Metaphors. I love
I
Atlas's stuff.
love Metaphor's art direction, man. It's so stellar. It's so stellar. I love the world that was built in the game. Um, it's so stellar for sure.
Atlas knows what they're doing with art
Yeah.
direction.
The fucking archetypes, which are the jobs, all of them look super good. Um, yeah, no, I'm over the
I
moon
mean,
with Metaphor's art
and
direction.
no one makes better menus than
Oh yeah.
Atlas.
Oh yeah. This is one though that I
I
do
know where
feel
Atlas.
that Persona 3 Reload was snubbed. I really like the updated art direction of Reload. The menus, especially with the characters falling into water and stuff like that, they were really striking, especially since that was one of the first games that I played on my OLED Steam Deck. That game is gorgeous. So again, very interesting to not see it here. I feel as though it should have been nominated as well. I do think though this is the only category I don't think Shadow of the Erd Tree is going to win. I think it will go to Black Myth Wukong. Um or Metaphor. But I don't think Elden Ring is going to win this one. I'm sure on award night that I will be proven wrong, but I think this is the one where it Elden Ring's future is not certain.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope Metaphor wins. Best narrative.
Final Fantasy VII
Ooh.
Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, Silent Hill 2. I know this is going to come as a surprise to you. I'm not choosing Metaphor for this one.
You're going like a dragon?
I'm going Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth for this one. So,
Okay.
for you who has not finished Metaphor, I will keep what my thoughts on this very, very light. Metaphor does some get things really, really well in terms of its storytelling, but at the end of the day, I feel as though the fantasy setting did kind of hamper its ability to tell a story.
Hmm.
Uh,
That's an interesting take.
yes, and I will explain why because this isn't spoilers. You can see this in the cover art for the game. Your party consists of all of the realm's different species. You all have this pro friendship, pro acceptance kind of attitude, and that's the attitude that you're bringing to trying to take the throne. And so in that story, there are some twists and turns that I did not see coming until the twist was given, but I didn't really feel as though the story was breaking any new ground. It was cathartic to it was cathartic in a lot of spots where I think the villain of the game is among Atlas's best. Um, but the story leading against him, he wasn't like a secret villain or anything like that. He was revealed to you from the very beginning. And so you just kind of got to unravel him. So uh, obviously, Luis is the villain, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. It never
So
changes from that.
okay, well, I'd rather not go too far into the game personally.
Well,
'Cause
yeah,
I think
no,
you're,
I,
I think
I
you're.
just have, yeah, I just have one comparison to give. So while we're unpeeling Luis's motivations throughout the game, it doesn't really come out of left field. Whereas like Maruki, he came out of left field, and then you got to see his motivations, and then got to understand him. That's good storytelling. This was kind of more of the run of the mill storytelling for me. Whereas, like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, perfectly balanced two protagonists and their ideals and their motivations, while having a unique story for both of them with an overarching narrative that included both of them. So I think that Infinite Wealth does have better storytelling in this regards. Metaphor is still so fucking good in that department. I just think Infinite Wealth edges it out a little bit in my mind.
Fair. I mean, I've beaten none of these games, so I'm still working my way through them. For games that have been right now, the one I would pick would be 1,000 Times Resist, but
Yeah.
it's not here. Um,
I'm
but
surprised that Hellblade got nominated so much because nobody played that game.
mhm. I'm very surprised too. I will say of the ones I have played, well, I haven't even played like a dragon, which okay. Um, but between these two, I have played them, and I mean, metaphor is gripping me. I do really like what the direction it's taking in the
Mhm.
story. We'll see. So I'm gonna vote for metaphor in this one. I think its story is compelling. And yes, its story is cliche a little bit. I mean, it is the different races and stuff like that, and it is very on the nose about basically racism and stuff like that. It's very on the nose with its
Yeah.
themes, but it does it to me in a very good, well thought out way.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
it's so I'm excited to keep playing more of it. So
I just was hoping that the narrative was pushed a little bit more since we were changing settings away from like
modern
fighting
day,
corruption in the modern day. Now we're just fighting corruption in a different way, in a different
yeah.
kind of thing. So like I just wish that the narrative was pushed a little bit more cuz I know that Studio Zero has it in them. So
Okay, so these
if
final
if
two
the Infinite Wealth didn't come out, it would have been Metaphor. So
yeah, game direction and game of the year had the exact same nominees.
yes.
This is the exact same category,
And
really.
usually they are tied together. There have been years where they haven't been, but usually they are. If you win game
So
direction, you win game of the year. It's not always set in stone, but a lot of the time.
I'm not gonna separate them. So we'll get to we'll basically we'll just over the same thing twice. So that's what I'll do. So we're at the final game of the year discussion,
Yep. So
and you shouldn't be
nominees,
here.
yeah, nominees: Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor, Rim Fantasio. When we were discussing Game of the Year nominations during the last episode of the podcast, we were pretty much on the nose. Both of us did leave off Black Myth Wukong
Hmm.
because both of us really didn't have playing it, but it being here is no surprise. That game
Yeah.
did extremely well. Again, the elephant in the room, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, just shouldn't be here. It just shouldn't be there. And
I
it's
mean,
upsetting to me that it is, and it probably will win. In a
if
year that it doesn't exist, I think that this is a really huge toss up and a really exciting year because I wouldn't know who was going to win. If Black Myth Wukong won off of the back of its tremendous player base, I would have understood. Final Fantasy winning off of its high quality and Final Fantasy VII name, I would have understood. Metaphor, Fantasio, or Astrobot winning, I would have jumped for joy because these kind of games don't really get the credit that is due to them. And if Balatro won, I would have shit myself because I really don't think that that one would have ever won. Very much a Stray being nominated for Game of the Year type scenario. But if it did won, I would have been happy about it because I played a shit ton of that. Elden Ring just should not be here. It's going to win, and that pisses me off even more because it shouldn't be here. This should be Metaphor, Final Fantasy VII, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Dragon Age Veilguard, Black Myth Wukong, Blatro, Astrobot's Year to win, not a game that's already won.
I mean, I agree. I don't agree that I think it's gonna win. I don't.
Really?
I don't agree it's gonna win. I think enough people are voting against it because the reaction I've seen online has been very negative about this. Everyone loves Elden Ring, and no one denies Elden Ring's quality, but everyone agrees this should not be here. Granted, it's only about 10% of the vote, but I think a lot of people who do vote are seeing this backlash and going, this is not worth putting the hand on the stove for."
Yeah, but
Uh,
the press that votes for it never really gets named, and they never really get the flack. It's all Jeff Keighley absorbing the flack, and
no,
he doesn't give a fuck.
I
So
mean it's possible. I think they see that they're already calling it the shitstorm now. I think if it wins, they know they're causing a bigger shitstorm. I don't think they have the guts to do it. I generally don't. I think they have the guts to do this as they did today, and I'm hoping, and part of it is kind of hope. I do think they're kind of back up and going, okay, because I mean, like, you go on Twitter, and Jeff Keighley posted, what do you guys think about the nominees this year? You guys disagree, and this response is why is Shelley Elcher here? Why is Shelley Elcher here? Why is Shelley Elcher here? It's just a sea of that.
mhm.
Um, so I'm hoping the backlash is kind of like, okay, I can't remove it now. It's too late, but we'll just not let it win. So
Well, we'll see. I do not think that that's what's going to happen. I
no,
think that it will win.
if it wins, I texted you earlier. If it wins, I'm
I'm
calling the game.
yeah,
I'm calling the Game Awards rigged if it wins,
yeah.
straight up. Like,
I
and at that,
I think there's a world where it doesn't win Best Game Direction. I can see that one going to Black Myth Wukong, Astrobot, Final Fantasy, or Metaphor. For sure, though, Elden Ring's going to win Game of the Year. For sure.
I mean, I will say if it does, this award show is toast. Like, straight up, it's toast. No one should take it seriously ever again. I mean, one question how we should take it seriously now because of this, but you'll kill any credibility you have with it winning. And on top of that, I'm gonna say right now, if it wins, Jeff Keighley, you need to go. You are not the man to lead this industry, and you need to go.
Yeah. I mean, I
Like,
agree with you. I agree with you. I yeah, I just don't this was clearly a move.
it's clearly favoritism. It's
Yeah, it's
absolutely
clearly a
favoritism.
favoritism move. Because again, it shouldn't be nominated. It just
And
shouldn't be.
again, the fact that we're discussing this over the other 5 nominees, like, this is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit. I shouldn't be discussing Elden Ring again.
Yeah. Well, then
It
let's
had
stop. Let's stop discussing Elden Ring. It shouldn't be here. Let's pretend like it's not. So, Metaphor, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Black Myth Wukong, Balatro, Astrobot. So, game direction means the whole thing. What game had the best art design, musical score, gameplay, the direction of the game? Who takes it? I think personally, Metaphor.
I want to say
Um, I think that that's just all encompassing. I wouldn't blame you if you chose Astrobot or Final Fantasy either. I think Astrobot is completely whole package. The music's fun, the gameplay is fun, the art direction is fantastic. I just think that for me personally, Metaphor hits more notes in
yeah.
my
I
mind.
mean, that's kind of where I'm at too. I mean, Astrobot, as we said it before, I mean, not kind of the elephant in the room. We said that the 3 locks were Metaphor, Final Fantasy, and Astrobot, and the 3 locks are here. And I said the winner would be one of these 3, and I still stand by that. Of those 3, though, the one I've beaten is Astrobot. But as you said, Metaphor is the one that's kicking my buttons.
Yeah,
Astrobot's fantastic, but I mean, it is kind of like you get the gist of the game right within the first level. You're just platforming. That's it. And
yeah,
it's cute. It's fun. It's a good time, relaxing. But I know it tickles, gets me going and sticks in my head a lot longer. And Ashford does have a moment where, especially the finale, sticks in my head. But I love Atlas, and they
yep.
know how to keep hitting buttons again and again and again and again throughout the entire experience. And I mean, as mentioned, I may have mentioned in the last podcast. What I'm doing right now is I'm literally alternating days. Like, this day I'll play Dragon Age, this day I'll play Metaphor.
It's true.
But every single time I'm like, I go to play Dragon Age. Man, I want to play Metaphor. Then I want to play Metaphor. Man, I want to play Dragon Age. Because like they both are just like hitting buttons for me. And my game of the year will come down to those two. It is. I'm eating good right now.
Yeah.
Um, so because of that, Dragon Age isn't here. So I'm going to vote for Metaphor.
Yeah. Well, you voted for Game of the Year there, just for reference.
Oh, that's fine. They're going to be the same category to me. So I'm just going to.
There you go. Yep. I think Metaphor is nothing against Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I need to play that. It's going to be that's probably going to be my binge this game during the month of December, like I did with Final Fantasy 16 last year.
If I can get Dragon Age and Metaphor done soonish. Oh, I mean, I don't know what's soonish, but December-ish. You know, if I can get time to get Final Fantasy going before we do our game of the year, I'm gonna try to, but I can't make guarantees for it. It's just it's a tricky game.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm pulling up my Steam right now. Metaphor took me 80 hours, and I did pretty much everything. So,
I'm not counting on being able to beat Final Fantasy before we do our game of the year. It'll probably get honorable mention, but I'm not counting on it.
I think it depends on how good Marvel Rivals is.
For you, that's a problem. That's you. That is a problem.
Yes.
I'm coasting at this point. Nothing else is coming out for me. I'll play Marvel Rivals a little bit. I'll play Fortnite nightly, but right now everything's just kind of coasting. You know, I'm working on Metaphor and Dragon Age. I'm also working on Mario and Luigi Brothership now on my Switch when I'm at work. I'll play my Rivals. Life Strange, yeah. So, but nothing else. I don't really have much like on my radar now in terms of what's coming out. Everything's out, ready to go. Now it's just hammering each and every game.
Yeah, I got Dragon Quest 3 downloaded on my Steam Deck. The performance for Dragon Age Veilguard on Steam Deck has not been ideal for playing that game, so I'm kind of leaning away from it and mostly just gonna play that on my actual PC. So I'm thinking about just playing through Dragon Quest on my Steam Deck, but that's not what you guys came for. That's off topic. We're talking about Game Award nominees here. So that does conclude all of the nominees. Get on the website, vote for the things that you think deserve the vote. Let us know in the comments who's your game of the year out of the nominees. Do you agree with the decision to include Shadow the Erd Tree in the conversation? And if the case, if you do decide that you agree with that, what are some other DLCs that should have been nominated in previous years before this was up?
Because Liberty.
I think that's the only way that you can lean credence into this, is because this rule change was for Elden Ring. So I say we talk about some other DLCs that probably would have deserved it. Phantom Liberty being at the top of my list as well. So yeah, let us know in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps us out, and you get to know when our next videos come out. And we will see you in the next episode of the podcast. I do want to mention, though, we will be doing a live stream reaction watch to the Game Awards on December 12th. So mark that on your calendar. We will be here doing that. You can watch it with us. We will probably spend a large majority of the time talking shit about Jeff Keighley. So
hopefully we're not hate watching.
Yeah, but there's a huge chance that we'll be hate watching. So yeah, let us know in the comments what you guys think, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much.
Adios.